Hello and welcome to 3ABN Today. This is the cooking hour of the Today program, and we are going to do a taste of Israel today. Yes. Let me introduce our special guest. Next to me we have Chef Greg Reilly.
Thank you.
And Greg, you are also the General Director for Maranatha Tours.
I am.
You know, I've had the pleasure of going over twice with the tour group that Jim Gilly has taken over, and Maranatha does such a wonderful job. It's so fun.
Well, thank you.
We're glad you're here with us today. Now, we also have with us Camille Gilly, and Camille is Jim Gilly's wife, and he is a blessed man, let me tell you.
We are equally.
Yeah, you're in good. How many times have you been to Israel?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't count. Jim's the one that keeps all those numbers.
Well, I know that he's been 20.
Probably 10, 12.
Yeah, he's been 23 times,
Yeah.
so you've been quite a bit as well. Then we also have on the end, we have Irma Murray, and Irma is C.A. Murray's wife. And boy, we've got some fabulous cooks here today. I'm going to point to these three when I say that, and we're going to have a lot of fun today.
We are.
Greg, what are we going to make today?
Well, we're going to make some items that, of course, we've had in Israel together. Israeli salad. Which is, you know, something that's a staple in Israel. We've all had it. A tahini dip that you can use with falafel sandwiches, things like that. Pita chips. Hummus, of course, everybody knows hummus, but we're going to kind of put a little Reilly kick into it.
Oh, yeah, so much better.
Baba ganoush. Camille, that's your favorite.
Yeah,
so we're doing baba ganoush today for sure. And of course, the pita chips. Pita chips are great out of the bag, but when you can make them fresh, that's the way to go. And for dessert, a tahini cookie.
Oh boy.
Something a little different.
Okay.
Not as sweet as a regular cookie, but really good. And of course, to top it off, falafel.
That's my favorite dish.
It is your favorite dish.
Mine too.
And we'll do some different things with falafel to kind of make it. You can make falafel one way, but you can make falafel anyway. So that's going to be fun.
Okay, we're going to have a great time.
We are.
So let's get started then.
Well, the first thing we're going to do is a little contest. So when we're in Israel, we're all sitting down eating. We always have the Israeli salad. And when we're at the kibbutz, if you remember, they take pride on how they make their salad. So the key is the smaller the dice, the better the salad. Now, cucumbers, tomatoes all taste the same, but to them, that's kind of the way they do it. So we're going to see who can have the best and smallest dice for our salad today.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
All right.
With these big weapons?
Now, I was here early, so I already got mine done. So I'm out of the contest.
Okay. What do we start with? What do we start with? With anything?
With anything.
Anything.
Now, Irma was my
Okay.
sous chef yesterday, so Irma, I showed you a couple tricks.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Should-
should have gotten some directions.
You're doing great, though. Just
Now,
watch
you know,
the fingers.
tell people what the kibbutz is, because some people may not know what a kibbutz is.
Well, the kibbutz is where you know, a lot of the kids and families run. So we stay there. It's a hotel that we stay at, but you know, it's a community. So all the kids and
is
cousins
it a
go there.
community farm or business?
They are farms. They're businesses. Back in the days, they were farms, but now because of the tourism, you know, a lot of kibbutz now are businesses. So. The Ma'agan we stay at, Camille's favorite, the Naf Guinnessar we also stay
the
at.
salads, the food.
Yeah.
Oh, mountains of food.
Well, and the kibbutz that we stayed at was right there on the Sea of Galilee.
That was the Ma'agan, yes.
Oh, I love that, and the food was delicious.
You know, you hear later about people that are on the trip that do their own thing, and so many of them go down early, like just about sunrise, and sit beside the Sea of Galilee.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that is real. Those
wonderful.
things you do on your own like that are so special.
Now, you know what I do with these at home, the onion? I just use my kitchen scissors. And
Really?
Oh, yes, I do
good
that
idea.
too,
Oh,
sometimes
really?
too.
Do you do all the green?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
no, I do.
No.
I leave a couple inches off of the green, but it just makes them really tiny.
Well,
Now, anytime you get together with somebody when you're cooking, you can always learn those neat tricks, those tricks that, you know, somebody else does that you can take and use on your own. So I'm going to use that when I get home.
Yeah, I really like that. So,
well,
and is this a speed contest or just?
I don't know,
fine
but
dice?
Irma, you got to help me out here. I mean, Shelly's kind of taking the role.
Oh no!
Camille, I don't know, you're doing good, but
I'm just tearing this green onion.
I'll try my
But
best.
I bet Emma's is going to be smaller than anybody else.
Well,
We may not have
what
it
is
done
the
by time
contest?
The program's over, but
Well, it's not going to be uniform for sure.
okay, now.
And one
That's
thing
even
about salads is they're so good you get them 3 times a day.
Yes,
Breakfast,
I love
lunch,
that.
dinner,
I
yes.
love
yes.
that.
Ooh, my
Something that I didn't know till we were there is that people in the States, they said that we're the only ones who have breakfast foods, specific breakfast foods.
Right.
And when you go
Right.
there,
And, well, in Europe is that way too.
Yes.
well, they have beautiful, beautiful
When we went to
salads
Russia
at
also, we had
breakfast.
Yeah.
cucumbers, remember those little ones?
Oh yeah.
So
Do you want
good.
this in there or do
Yeah,
we wait?
you know what? Perfect. Let's put it in there, and then we'll finish our salad off. Looks
Good
pretty good,
idea.
Camille.
Oh, well, when it's all mixed in, who'll know?
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, Yarna, yours is nice and small.
All right.
Oops, oops, oops. Greg, is it as small as you can or
It
what?
looks,
wait a minute.
you know what?
Is that
Yeah, I want that and that out.
Okay.
I think the skills you learned did pay off.
Yes. I did a little practice
looks great.
yesterday.
This
on
is very intimidating to work with a pro.
No, no, no. I tell you what, I had the best cornbread, Camille, at your house. Matter of fact, if we take your cornbread recipe and bring it to Israel, that will be the new staple food. I'm telling you right now, it was awesome.
You're just very kind, Greg.
No,
You're very kind.
I'm very,
No,
very
it's
honest. Now. I mean, that was
delicious, yes.
delicious cornbread. That was
What
in the
kind did you
cookbook.
make it?
Oh, secret ingredient. Oh. No, it's a skillet. You make it in a hot skillet.
Oh, okay. Since I'm behind, I'm gonna make it bigger then.
Well, I think that looks awesome.
But she did
Okay.
some good tricks there.
Well, I think we got our winners because it's a close. Well, we're all winners, but I think Irma and Camille, I think you kind of did a good job. Did a good job. So for your grand prize today,
We get the booby prize.
you did a great job, but I have a better surprise for you. You each get an apron to wear,
Oh, well, see, I've already got my apron
and
on.
you
so
have your apron.
I don't feel so bad.
And you get to win because we get to make the salad and finish it off together.
Wonderful. For the Israeli salad, you will need 4 small cucumbers, or 1 English cucumber, 3 large tomatoes, 1 red pepper, 2 green onions. For the dressing, you need olive oil, fresh lemon juice, salt to taste, pepper to taste, and how do we say that? Zafar?
Zatar.
Zatar to taste, or just any kind of fresh herb. We're going to talk about what zatar is in
Yep,
just a minute.
we will.
All right, so all we need then is the olive oil
Do some olive oil,
and the lemon.
the lemon.
You have the salt and the zatar.
Yep.
I'll start juicing up your lemon.
That's a
Here.
good trick.
Yeah, you know the tricks.
No, you know the tricks. That's how you do it. Not a lot of people know the tricks. So the juice of one lemon, always without the seeds, of course.
Yes.
So to
just-
A
to
nice
strain your
strainer.
seeds, you're
Look
just
at
using-
that.
Well, you know, when I get in the
That's what
kitchen,
I do at home, too.
you know, a lot of people,
Really?
what do I do? Let's get dirty. Let's
If I'm
enjoy
in
the
a
food.
hurry,
Let's
if
make it with
not,
our
I'll
hands.
do the
Well, let's do
whole-
it a little fast. That's great. Now we have for the salt, this is
Now that's sea salt,
That's
and we
sea
got
salt
that from the Red Sea. The Red
Wonderful.
Sea.
From the Red
So everything I do, especially when I go to Israel, and if you join us in Israel, when you get these things, you bring them home and you can use them throughout. If not, some of the Middle Eastern stores, Mediterranean stores will have things like this you can
Oh,
buy.
that's
So
great.
while you're here,
All
so we'll do a little salt.
Okay.
And of course, all the salt I do is to taste also, so you can always add more later if you want to. And of course, the za'atar.
And the zatar, explain what this is.
Za'atar is herbs used, matter of fact, Middle Eastern wise, this is probably one of the most widely used herbs you can do.
Is this the one that has hyssop?
It does have hyssop.
Oh,
some of them don't. Some of them do. I always get the ones with hyssop. Matter of fact, the one I got in the Galilee area. So this
Yes.
is grown and raised and produced in the Galilee area. So, and then of course our olive oil, extra virgin olive oil is what I always use. You can use whatever olive oil you want to. But this actually came from the Valley of Canaan. So also an Israeli product that we brought in just to make our Israeli salad.
That's right. It's totally authentic.
Wonderful.
And they always have, with the salads, a bowl of that za'atar.
Yes.
So you can
That is
sprinkle it on
really
anything.
good.
Sure.
There we have a beautiful dish, and this is so tasty. Well, there we go. This is what I do at home. Okay, so what are we going to do for our second recipe?
Perfect, perfect. Well, next we're going to do Chef Reilly's tahina dip. We're going to have 1 cup soy sour cream, 2 tablespoons of tahina, and I'll explain the difference later, 1 to 2 fresh lemons squeezed, 1 to 2 garlic cloves crushed, a half teaspoon ground cumin, a 1/4 teaspoon sea salt, 1/4 teaspoon freshly ground black pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon fresh dill, that's optional, but I'll show you why you need it in this, and then 2 tablespoons of water just to thin it out at the end if you need to.
Sounds good. All right. So,
Well, Irma, are you ready?
Yes.
We had some fun yesterday messing out this, so let's do it, right?
Yes, so we do it
This
now.
dish, we're not using parsley.
oh, okay.
But we're going to use dish on this one.
All right.
Or dill.
Yes,
So
we're gonna do dill.
we'll get going.
And
We're
we
gonna-
have it all ready.
We have it all ready to go. So we're going to take our bowl. We'll start out with our soy sour cream. You can do soy yogurt for this also, but we like the sour cream. I like the way that it flavors it a little bit differently when you do sandwiches, things like that. So, Irma, if you want to do the tahina sauce.
sauce.
Now, there's 2 types of tahina and tahini sauces out there. One is the tahini, which is the butter. The other is going to be the tahina, which is the sauce. So they'll take the tahina, which is ground sesame seed, and olive oil. They'll take, to make the sauce, they'll add some lemon juice, salt and pepper, and kind of make it so it's a little more of a sauce consistency. So when you're doing sauce, it makes it blend a little bit better instead of being thicker. So
Interesting.
Okay.
we'll take a whisk, yep.
that's
And we'll just
it.
go with everything. Garlic, I like to do
garlic,
the
za'atar,
za'atar, the cumin, and the dill.
and the dill. Ooh, it smells yummy.
And of course, our fresh lemons. And I'll go
okay,
ahead and do
so-
this for you
So
again.
you do that,
Always fresh
did it.
lemons.
this stirring here.
Only way to go.
That's good.
We'll just do 1 lemon because these lemons are kind of large
They are
juicy, too.
beautiful.
and juicy. This will make it nice. Matter of fact, I don't think we need any water for this because of that. But anytime you're doing these recipes and cooking, do it on, if you want to add this, you can. The dill for me really brings out the flavor, especially with
Yes, I do
falafel.
too. I love it.
You can add tomatoes to this if you want to make it a little more chunky. The garlic, you can make it minced. I like my garlic really chunky, so when you have that bite of garlic when you're eating it, it's
me too.
really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially
You could put
roasted.
olives or anything in there you wanted.
Anything. Yep, anything. When you do a recipe, there's nothing you can and can't do.
Well, that one was simple.
Well,
Yeah.
That
this
was simple. And there's our finished product over there.
A veces is delicious
That's
too.
a beautiful presentation. I love the way you plate your
yes.
food.
Food is all about making it and then making it look pretty.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll go with that, and that's going to be our finished product.
All right. So
Okay.
for the next recipe, we are going to make what?
Well, we're going to make JD's favorite hummus.
Wonderful. So let's look at your recipe then for hummus. We need 2 cups of canned chickpeas, drained, juice from 2 lemons, 1 cup of tahina, 2 garlic cloves, 1½ tablespoons of shallot or just 1 smaller shallot, 3 tablespoons of any oil, but always the preferred is extra virgin olive oil, 1/4 teaspoon of za'atar, and salt to taste. So let's get started.
Let's get started. And this is easy. Food processor, blender, you can put it all in there and get going. The one secret ingredient that I kind of put in there is the shallot. So Shelley, you're asking about the shallot. It is an onion. It's part of the onion family, but it's smaller. It's a little more pungent, and that's kind of what the size of a shallot looks like. So and when you're in the produce area, you can see the shallots. They're usually hanging out by themselves, some kind of on their own, but that's what you'd use. Gives a little different flavor. Pretty good too.
You
Some
can see how
cumin, your
you-
za'atar.
So you're behind me now. You
I am
gotta
behind,
get-
but hey, you know what? This will
This
be
is
my
the way I
job
like
today.
it.
We'll do the fresh lemon juice.
So you put everything in there.
Everything
all
in
the
there.
ingredients at once.
And then we'll get it started, and then we'll add our olive oil as we go. And the olive oil we put in there, and that will. Got it. You got it.
Not on there.
It's a safety lock. And then we'll just stop it and make sure we're doing good here. Kind of scoop the sides
I
down.
need
And
Irma, pass me a larger one. Thank you.
perfect. And if it's still too thick, you don't want to put any more olive oil, you can put some water in there, but we'll add some more olive oil.
Okay.
As you know, every morning when you see me at the tables in Israel, what am I eating? Hummus.
Oh, we love
And the
their
bread. I
hummus.
mean, that's
We eat this all the time. You know, it's always funny when you call 3AB in and we're playing what a program is, and then you check, you're on hold, and you hear this running. That's always my least favorite time to call.
Now,
All
for
right, are
me,
we
this
done?
is, I'm done. You can make it a little thinner if you want to, but with the bread that you use to dip it in, you want to definitely make it thicker. There's a little more substance for you also, so. And then, of
This
course,
one's thick.
the finished product, you have to always finish with olive oil on top.
And I like what you've done with the, okay,
Got it?
I'm getting it. This is thick.
Here, let me hold that for you.
Please. I like what you've done on the presentation there where you've actually put the olives right next to them.
Well, you know, when you travel in Israel, at every table setting, you're going to have olives everywhere, and that's one of their main, sources of diet. So everything I do when I'm cooking Middle Eastern food, we put olives in there just to make it, they're fabulous, they're fresh, and they're good also with the dish.
JD loves green olives and he loves hummus. So this is how you make hummus, and it's such an easy dish. It's wonderful. We had this the other night. JD said, I'm not really that hungry. And I said, how about some hummus and pita bread? And it just makes a nice, light evening meal.
Well, hummus dates back in the Bible. Matter of fact, Ruth 2:14, we believe it was mentioned when Boaz met Ruth and invited her in for dinner. So eating hummus, even back then, it's been going on for a long time. The first recipe, I think, was in the 13th century, found in Egypt. So hummus has been around for a long time. Great protein, great vitamins. And if you're sitting around at night and you just want that for dinner with bread, it's perfect.
And if you eat it at my house, you have to like garlic. Because I put lots of garlic in
The
it.
more garlic, the better, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's how we do
good
it.
for you.
Very
Okay.
good.
This is one of the things that we see quite a bit when we go to Israel is the hummus dish. But we also see the next recipe, and I believe that is baba ganoush, right?
Camille's favorite.
Yes.
Baba
Camille, since
ganoush.
that's your favorite, you read the recipe and hop right in here.
Our next recipe is Chef Reilly's baba ganoush. And for that, you will need 2 medium to large eggplants, 1 medium onion, 1/4 cup parsley, 1/2 cup tahini, juice from 1 to 2 lemons, 2 to 3 garlic cloves crushed, salt to taste, and black pepper to taste, and a 1/4 teaspoon paprika and extra virgin olive oil.
All right.
All right, you ready to make it? This
Yes.
is your favorite.
You need to,
Well, I love it, but I discovered it from my daughter Marianne, who makes this every Friday for her son Benjamin. Benjamin loves baba ganoush. So I've never made it myself, so I am excited about this.
We'll do it kind of the authentic way of doing it.
Yes,
So
that's what I want.
we'll
authentic.
start with the 2 large eggplants. We're going to cut them in half. We'll put them on a sheet pan. We'll brush the tops with olive oil. We'll put them in the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes, about 400 degrees to roast them. That's going to give the eggplant a nice flavor. And, of course, the skins now crisp up, and you can kind of take the pulp out and go from there. So pretty much once our eggplant's out of the oven, we're going to take this and we'll just scoop out the eggplant pulp.
now we've already cooled this down a little.
We
bit.
have.
You
Yeah,
couldn't
it's
just
not
jump
burning.
in
No.
there.
Matter of fact, I would wait maybe 10 to 20 minutes. Eggplant kind of holds its heat, so I'd wait a little bit just before doing this. But
You know, JD has eaten baba ganoush. He just
He
didn't
just didn't know it was
He
eggplant.
loves
Right.
it.
So now he does like eggplant.
Yeah.
another staple, another dip. In Egypt, this would be considered like a salad. In other countries, they use it as a dip. So it depends on the country you go to and what they're going to use it for and how they're going to eat it. But baba ganoush is good with everything and anything. So, but we'll take our eggplant, and again, Roku, food processor, blender, whatever you want to use. This you can even do by hand if you take a potato masher. But I like the ease and I like
Yeah,
machines.
I
So
think that's
we're going to put it in here. We're going to get rolling. So
Okay.
we're going to add our eggplant. And then Camille, if you want to add everything else, we'll do our
Okay.
onions, we'll do our tahini sauce, our garlic.
Should it?
Get a spoon
Run
here,
a little
spatula.
spatula.
little parsley. And in this recipe also, anything you're doing, if you want to add a little kick to it, cayenne pepper works, jalapenos, jalapeno juice, coming from Arizona, we do a lot of that stuff. So anytime you want to do anything like that, in any recipe like that, you can. Of course, our fresh lemons. I've been doing this a lot today.
I've learned that that's a great little trick.
But you know, lemon, once it's in your system, is alkaline, so this is a very good thing.
Yeah, it is. And it also gives it balances the flavors of everything that you're doing.
Do you need any of this water?
Not yet.
Okay.
So we'll get it
Just
going.
see it.
Again, kind of like the hummus, we'll get spinning here, and then we'll add our oil while we do it, and then our water if we need to.
Okay.
You can hit the button if you like.
Well, we're not hooked up right.
Are we plugged in? Now this, because the eggplant's
That's
cooked, you
soft.
don't want to rock it too much. You want to kind of just watch it. Again, the thicker you want it, or the more pliable, do it longer. But I like chunks and thick things in my sauces and dips I have. So
that looks
I think we're good to go right here.
Yeah.
So now we had this when we were at the Druids place in Israel.
Druze.
The Druze.
Druze, I always say
Uh-huh.
Druids. It's really fascinating. The Druze in Israel, I guess wherever they are.
Right.
Can you get
They have a religion. It's a religious sect, and their religion has no written word. It's just pure oral, and it's handed down from generation
Ooh,
to
this is
generation.
yummy.
I don't think they ever marry outside their sect. do
Nope, they stay.
good.
Yep.
And
You're right.
and the interesting thing, you can always tell when a man is a Drew because he has the big baggy pants on. They wear huge baggy pants, and the reason they do that is because they believe the Messiah is going to be born miraculously to a man. So that those big baggy pants are to catch the baby as the baby is birthed. Now I thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
All right, Camille, we're not in Israel,
Okay.
Okay.
but I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take a spoonful and you just tell me what you think.
And I hold this for you.
I'm going to do the same.
And me too.
Delicious. A little more salt.
You can add salt.
It's good.
Yeah, you know, I like salt, but when you're cooking for people, you don't want to add too much. But again, you can always go back and
that's
add some more salt if you want to, or any herbs or
Yes.
spices that will go in that.
I think
Delicious, delicious.
our boys are going to really be interested in lunch today.
And again, this is something else you can use with anything. Dinner, breakfast, lunch,
Oh,
as
I
a
can
dip,
eat
as
this.
a salad, with bread, without bread. I mean,
Anytime
you can
you're
use
hungry.
baba ganoush with anything.
Well, of course, they serve it too when you go 3 times a day. This,
And then
hummus,
with
so
the
you
pita
get the
chips.
option.
Yes, and here we've got it presented with
Beautiful.
pita chips, little olives.
And when you think of those olives coming off of the trees there in Israel, and you know, we see one olive tree
Right.
that they say probably was there when Jesus was there.
Yeah.
So that's a thrill.
The Garden of Gethsemane.
Right.
That you actually get to see. Well, we've all been there and
Yeah.
was able to experience. So anybody else out there that comes with us this November, we'll be able to do the same
Yes.
thing. Sit around a table, we can have baba ganoush and go see the oldest olive tree that, well, I think in the world.
Oh, I'm
It's-
sure it must be.
And it is such an amazing
They're
experience.
such an
It sure
ugly
is.
tree, but the beauty is so, they're just so different. I just
They are
a thrill to
beautiful,
see.
yes.
Yeah. Well, we are going to do what next?
We are going to do our baked pita chips. We're going to start out with 3 pitas, pocket or Arabic bread, and we're going to cut those into 8 wedges. We're going to go with 4 tablespoons of olive oil, and I always use extra virgin, 3 cloves of garlic, smashed or minced, a 1/4 cup parsley, that's going to be roughly chopped, 1 teaspoon of rosemary finely chopped, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper if you want to, it really takes us up a notch, and of course salt and pepper to taste.
Well, that sounds good.
You could buy pita chips in a bag, but when you can make it fresh, why buy it in the bag?
What's the difference between pocket bread and Arabic bread?
Pocket bread is going to be like the Greek, and matter of fact, let's just do this real quick. We're going to cut it anyway. So this would be your traditional pocket bread that you would stuff your falafel into.
Right.
Things like that. Our Greek pita bread is what traditionally people will know it by. Your Arabic bread is going to be pocketless. So this would be Arabic bread that you would, you know, and it's just kind of the same mixture. It's just not puffed up in the middle.
Okay.
So this would be, and you know, this is, to me, this is bread for dipping and the hummus and the baba ganoush. This is the fun stuff. You know, there's different breads. There's different ways of doing it. They do toasted pita bread. So you can take your pita bread, cut them in half. You can put some olive oil on that. Put them in the oven, toast them up real quick. Or just right out of the bag, or if you make it fresh, and go from there.
Do you remember when we were at we stopped at that first place, the Drews and the woman?
Yes. Well, there is an area that we used to go up near the mouth of the Jordan. If you leave the area and there's a little trail, go down that trail, and there were women cooking outside over a metal, they had a metal pot, I guess, that was rounded, and they would put the bread on that and cook it, and then you got to eat it hot right off of the...
Wow.
That was Jim loved doing that. That was one of his favorites.
They use a fire, or they'll heat up stones.
We were
It might
watching.
have been
put
a
on the
stone,
stones, yeah.
And we were watching the lady do it over the stone, and she would spread this out, and then she put it in her hand, and she'd flop it around, and this thing came out in a perfect circle. It was beautiful.
And some of
that
the
was
best you've
delicious.
ever had. I mean, that's,
Absolutely delicious.
yeah, it's fun.
I remember the first time we were in Israel, we looked out the window early in the morning because, you know, you're off schedule, and there was a man going under the window, and he had one of those huge trays that they carry with that bread that it's like an oval. Greg, what kind of bread is that?
Challah bread?
No, it's just flat, and it's covered with sesame seeds.
Oval
and it's
flatbread.
mounded.
We'll call it oval flatbread.
I like that. All in the whole city, you'll
Right.
see those big trays just piled with that. And it tastes just, you know, it's similar to this.
It is.
It's just another kind of bread.
And if you don't make it at home, and if you don't make it fresh, you know, I have a guy in Arizona that is, I mean, he must wake up at, I don't know, 3 in the morning, because you get in there at 9 a.m., it's fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, to get out of the oven fresh is awesome. So any area that you live in, there's got to find that Middle Eastern store, get in there, find out when they make that bread, and get in there and get it when it's fresh. So, but let's make some pita chips real quick, just to kind of give you an idea of how you can utilize some of the pita bread you have left over, or if you want to use it for your dip. So I pretty much just take the bread and we'll cut them into 8 wedges. And always watch the fingers.
Anything with the Middle Eastern breads are also delicious.
It's still isn't it very traditional that people will have one main dish like your baba ganoush or your hummus, and then a platter of breads, and you dip in the same bowl together.
Yep, all by hand too.
Everything's by hand, yeah.
I mean, traditionally.
It's not a knife and you spread it on. You dip it in and you
isn't
eat
that
the
what
whole
Jesus
thing.
said? Where he
That's
who
right.
dips
Yes.
his hand in his
So that's
bowl?
what it meant. That's
Yeah.
what the Bible meant.
When you go to Israel and when you're there and you're experiencing the cultures and the foods, you find a lot of that. You can see how, I mean, these are generations and generations. They don't change anything. So eating with your hands, you know, doing things traditionally when she's making her bread and how she makes it, they've been doing that for thousands of years. So it's kind of cool to see and sit at a table with each other and experience. And I mean, I like playing with my hands with everything. So eating with your hands is even better.
I think, to me, anytime something is a finger food, I'm going to make it a finger food. You know, I see people who will take well, JD does this. He'll use a fork and knife on pizza, and I'm thinking, you're kidding. Pizza's a finger food. But anyway, you do see a lot of that in Israel. Okay, so we're going to make baked pita chips.
We're going to make baked pita chips. So we're going to take our olive oil, and we'll just put, and guess what? You get to get dirty right now.
All right.
This is the only way to make pita chips.
This is a hands-on, you're saying.
And it's fun. We are
Hands on.
try that.
We'll just rough chop our parsley real quick, and I always go fresh parsley. Everything you can do, if you can do it fresh, do it. If you have to go with the canned version of anything, or if you have to go with the dry spice, that's fine. But anything you do, especially baking-wise, always try to go fresh.
Yes.
So we'll do our fresh rosemary, just finely chopped. Gives it a great flavor. And of course our garlic and rough chop. We all love garlic, so the thicker the better. That way each pita you get that little bite.
Get that bite.
The funness. And then as simple as that, we'll do some salt and pepper just to taste. Camille, is this okay for you? So, well, you know what? We're going to add just a touch more for Camille. And then we're going to take our pita chips, and you can mix it all together and coat the pita chips, just with your hands.
I like this. Now, so the garlic, you're just going to end up with garlic pieces, and then you're going to bake this?
You know, you're going to bake it, and what the garlic does with the olive oil, it roasts. So you get the roasted garlic on top of the pita chip. That's okay. And if it goes on the floor, that's what the dogs are for.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Well, this is not, the kids would enjoy helping make this recipe, wouldn't they? All right.
That's perfect. We'll get you we'll get you a rag here to.
Thank you.
And then pretty much right onto a baking sheet like you do anything else, and make sure all the good stuff gets on there. Spread them out a little bit, and then we'll put that right into our oven. Bake it for about 10-15 minutes, and you have some pita chips. And we made some already for you to look at. And that, like I said, with that garlic, when it roasts on those chips, it's phenomenal.
This is the kind of stuff I like. And anytime you've got
Delicious,
fresh ingredients, as you said, the fresh herbs. Oh.
So now you have
Makes
hummus
a big difference.
in your refrigerator. Now you have some baba ganoush in your refrigerator, salted to Camille's taste. And now you can take that and with your bread on pita chips, I mean, you can, you know, for the next week, enjoy yourself. And think of Israel. You know, when you open the Bible and you read what we do and what we've done, especially going to Israel, when you incorporate, we talk a lot about the food. But food is a huge part of traveling and culture. And, you know, when people, as a family, what do you do at night? You sit down and eat together. You find out more about each other and things, how things work, and go from there. And when you go to Israel, when we all sit down and fellowship together and eat together, that's some of the best times for me. I mean, it's fun.
Very beautiful, beautiful time.
Well, we'll stick this in the oven. And while we are, what is our next recipe?
Our next recipe is going to be our tahini butter cookies. And Irma, you're going to help me make those.
Yes, I will. For the tahini butter cookies, we will use 1 cup of butter, half a cup of sugar, half cup of tahini, 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and half a teaspoon of baking powder.
All right.
Well, a lot of people think tahini or tahina is just for sauces, but you can actually make sweets out of them. And it's a mild sweet. It's not super sweet, but it's really, really good. So I thought, why not bring that to the Cookie Foundation? And here we go. Let's make some cookies.
Yes.
Well, Irma, we were hanging out yesterday.
Yes.
And we were experimenting and playing around with it. And you did such a good job. Why don't you take us through making the cookies?
Okay, Chef Reilly, I'm going to teach you to make the tahini cookies.
I'm gonna watch and learn.
And it's very easy. First of all, we are going to put the butter.
Now, is that
Because
butter
we have
or is
this
that,
is a soy butter.
Okay.
What we have here that you can find it in a
Kroger
health food
has it.
store or
Everybody
even
has it.
Kroger. Okay, and then your sugar because we want
It
to
looks like you're using
make
Florida
this
crystals.
on. It is Florida crystals.
So instead of
And,
going with the basic sugars, we'll go with the natural sugars.
Yes, preferable.
And a half a cup isn't very much.
How about
No.
if we? Okay, so we are going to make this fluffy. So we're going to make a little noise here. Well,
It's coming there.
it's getting there. Takes
You
a
wanna
little bit
soften your
for-
butter.
Yes.
Before we do this, this
That-
was softened, but it's still because of the coarse sugar, it takes a little bit
Yes.
longer.
It's coming.
Yeah,
That's
gonna look
pretty
good,
good.
yeah.
What do you think?
think it looks
Okay,
great.
so now we're going to add the rest of our ingredients.
So,
We do vanilla,
yep.
This is our baking powder. Want to make sure that that's very well blended. Am I doing a good job?
You're doing awesome. I'm staring at it. I can't believe it's coming along so well.
I have a question. When you're cooking at home, do you put all of your ingredients out in little bowls? And
You know what? I don't.
Okay.
Matter of fact, recipes to me are hard. Everybody's always asking, Greg, you got to tell me the recipe, and I'm like, well, you got to come over and watch because it's hard. It's hard to do that. Everything that I do in every recipe that you get, take it, try it. But if you want to add some stuff to it, you can. If you want to take away, you can. Make it your own. That's it. Make it your own. So it'd be fun to do it like this. Matter of fact, it is fun. Maybe I'll try it when I get home. But I just like to go crazy.
The only time I follow a recipe actually is when I'm baking, because I have found if you're baking, you do need to pretty much.
The baking recipe.
Yes, yes. I feel the same way.
I love to make cookies, but I do substitute some. Like if it's a chocolate chip cookie, I put cranberries and walnuts.
Ooh, and I like those better.
This recipe too. We're doing a basic tahini cookie, but you can add nuts to it. You can add sesame seeds. You can add whatever you want to make that a cookie yours. Or we're going to do a little cayenne maybe just to spice it up a little bit.
And somewhere we had it where it was kind of had an almond.
Almond.
I think I love the almond flavor. Okay.
Yes, this is very good. So we continue adding the liquid part. And
This is the tahini.
the other tahini. How about if we?
Yeah, I got it. We need some more kitchen space. Isn't that the whole thing? Whenever you go to a house, you're like, wow, they either have good kitchen space or they don't.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So important. Okay, we'll mix again.
Looking good.
Okay, that's looking much better.
I remember as we worked our way down from Galilee, and then we were doing this, began the southern part in Jerusalem. I remember at the Ambassador Hotel, which the food is fabulous there. And we went out, it's such a spread. So the only problem is there's so many choices, you don't know what to do.
Too many.
But they put out some of these tahini cookies, and they were just gone every night when they put them out among their 42
They
other
have so many desserts that
Just fabulous desserts, yes.
And they don't sweeten you to death either there.
No,
It's not so overpowering. It's just good, subtle, sweet flavors. And whether it's pastry or cookies, it's really good stuff.
Yes, but we were impressed about that because most of the desserts when you buy in the bakery are usually very, very sweet.
Yep.
And so many variety. The variety was tremendous and they were not so sweet. So how about if you help us with the flour?
I will. I'm just kind of staying away because remember yesterday it kind of we both wore it.
Back up.
You just let me do this one yesterday. Okay.
Cool. Perfect.
How about that?
That's
I
awesome.
think that is good.
I'll take this from you.
Well, now, if I was making those for Jim, which he doesn't eat sweets, but if he did, I could probably use gluten-free flour in
You
that.
could.
And there are a lot of gluten-free flours, but there are some that are better than others, and I try to get the one that has the best ingredients, not just potato starch and tapioca.
Well, I've been noticing
very
when
good
you
to
go into
know.
restaurants now, there's a whole lot
There
more
are a lot of
Yes.
choices.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
choices. Yes.
So it's in the markets too.
And to change the subject on sweets, but tahini or tahina, you can also use for soups. It's pretty
Soup,
for a thickener, for a thickening agent. You put that in soup, and it's thick as the
Tahini
soup.
or tahina?
But either
both?
one of them,
Either
yep.
one?
Try it. And it also gives a little dynamic to the soup you're eating, too. It's pretty neat.
So what are we going to do
So
with these
we're going to
cookies?
have, everybody's going to help with
Now,
this.
is this just something to add later?
So-
You're not going to do the whole recipe. Is that cayenne?
That's the
cayenne, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
going to be for the...
We don't want to add all that in there.
Yes.
Well, it's not like
Maybe in Arizona they would
potent
like
than
it.
salt.
Some for you, Shelly. And now we are going to take a little bit. Camille?
Well, I'm going to put cayenne in mine.
Will you top
Yes.
it, do the first with this and then with the...
Yes.
Do about 2 tablespoons in your hand, and you could you
Where
can make
is
them.
our cheat? Cookie cheat. We need a cookie cheat.
All right, and then we're going to... Where is our cookie sheet?
I don't know.
That
It's there.
big
I put
round
it
one.
there.
Oh, I think I just put it under
Did
maybe.
you put it under? I got it. I got it right
Okay.
here. So we're ready to go.
Good.
Very good.
All right.
Okay, so I have my first one.
We can be like the fish market, Shelley. You can just throw it to me and I'll catch it.
Well, I still don't know when to add the cayenne.
We'll do it.
after?
We'll do
And
it
then
after.
we-
You do it
Yes.
later?
I do it later, so it's
Okay.
kind of on top, and it gives a little bite when you crunch into it, just not all the way through.
Okay.
But if you want to add it
You just-
in the mixture, you sure can.
So are you putting sesame on both sides of yours?
I am.
Oh, okay. I'll just do it
really?
on the top.
Oh.
Either way,
right.
it's
We didn't do that yesterday.
whichever. There is no right or
that's
wrong
how
here. Cookie making is whatever you
Now,
want it
they
to be.
don't spread very much.
They won't spread much. So you want to space them out a little bit, but it's not like they're going to rise. They'll spread out maybe
Yeah, they grow a little bit.
a little bit, but not much.
And after they're baked, don't you leave them on the cookie sheet?
Leave
till
them on the
they
cookie
cool?
sheet. So we'll bake them for about 15 to 20 minutes at 375. After you're done, leave them on the cookie sheet that you baked them on for about 15 to 20 minutes to cool, and that way the bottom will crisp
stay
up,
together.
and then you'll have our finished product over there that you can look at. I always finish it off with a little bit of tahini on the top of the cookie too.
Yes.
It gives it. It's almost like a glaze, but it really.
It looks like a
when you try the cookie, it's really light and delicate. So when you have the glaze on it, it's really good.
Oh,
let you
those are good.
Okay.
Well, we've had wonderful recipes so far. We've got dips and breads and cookies, but we got to get to the main dish.
The main dish.
Yes, my favorite.
I think everybody's favorite, right?
Oh, I didn't know till
Anybody that...
when my sister found out. Well, let's read the recipe, then I'll tell you a story about my sister.
So today's falafel recipe, we're gonna go with 2 cups of dry chickpeas. You're gonna yield 4 cups afterwards, and I'll kind of show you how we're gonna do that after they're done soaking. 2 small onions, a half a cup chopped parsley. We're gonna go a half of cup cilantro, 8 to 10 garlic cloves, or Shelley, with you and me, we could probably go more than that.
Yeah.
3 tablespoons of flour, 3 teaspoons of salt and pepper to taste, 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, of course optional, 2 tablespoons of falafel seasoning. This is going to be my specialty, but you can also get this at a Middle Eastern store. And of course, vegetable oil for frying. We're going to use grapeseed oil today, or you can use canola or peanut oil, work well also. Are we ready?
Oh, we're ready.
Again, food processor, blender. This is Middle Eastern stuff. They've made it easy for us
gotta
nowadays.
have it.
We're just going to incorporate all our ingredients, but before that, let's just explain the garbanzo bean process. When you go with the dry garbanzo beans, you're going to take these, you're going to soak them overnight. This is key for anything you do with falafel. The canned beans you're asking me about, that's for hummus. That's cooked. These are not going to be cooked because we're going to be cooking them in our oil, so we don't want it to be too mushy or soggy when we cook them. So that was kind of the ingredients there. So make sure you soak these overnight, and that way the next morning you're going to have a finished product just like that. They'll pretty much double in size, the garbanzo beans.
Dried soybeans soaked, but not cooked.
Right. And so we're going to rock and roll with everything. Not soybeans, garbanzos.
Oh,
or chickpeas.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We'll go with our onions, our flour, our garlic, and Shelley, we love our garlic.
Yes, we do. And you know, I have
Is
to
that the
say,
special seasoning?
That's our special falafel seasoning.
All right, that's
Cumin,
yours.
So,
coriander, and some of the
That's
special
what we make
ingredients
sure
that I put in there, but you can make up your own, or like I said, at a Middle Eastern shop, you can buy
so you
some.
can put it on.
and that was
But not the sesame.
Neil over there
No.
adding.
Okay.
And that's
got it
it.
all? Wow.
So we're gonna process
Is
this now.
something that needs to go in?
Nope, we already put that in. That's our falafel seasoning.
Oh,
We're gonna process this. We don't want it to be a paste. We want it to be like a meal, almost like couscous. So we're just gonna chop it. kind of give you an idea, but we've already have ours ready to go, so we're going to go ahead and kind of get some creative. That's it. So that will be your finished product once we're done.
Like cornmeal, wet.
So it's it's pliable, but it's still formable. So what we're going to do is now with falafel, this is the right way to do it, or the regular way. You can do whatever you want to with your falafel. You can add,
As I'm going to add, is a little curry.
So we're going to have some curry falafel.
And I'm going to do sesame.
We'll do some sesame, and we're going to put the sesame on the outside, so when it fries, it's going to be really nice. And then our friend Irma over there is going to be doing
Cilantro.
Cilantro really gives it a great
A little
flavor.
Latino flavor.
A little Latino flavor. You know,
Okay.
I live in Arizona, so I have a lot of that influence, and I'm telling you, everything I cook now seems to be the cilantro thing. So.
But now, I
Great.
have to
Cilantro makes something good.
tell our viewers that when we went to Israel, this is something that,
this
you know how hamburgers are kind of like the national sandwich of America? Well, falafels are the national sandwich of Israel. And we had falafels every day for lunch.
Yes.
We'd have a beautiful buffet breakfast, then we would have a beautiful
Never got
buffet
tired of
dinner,
it.
but we had falafels every day and never got tired of
No.
them.
Well,
Because
chickpeas-
every one is different. Everybody has their little different flair, like we're doing here.
Yes.
And they're high in protein.
Okay.
It's
okay.
super high in vitamins, so you get your daily nutrients. And this is like you're right, they're fast food. I mean, growing up as a kid in Israel, walking up and down the
You
streets.
did grow up there?
Not growing up, but traveling to
Just
Israel as a
traveling
kid.
so much.
I wish that would be, a
Yeah,
great story,
that
right?
would be interesting.
But going there as a kid and walking down the streets and, going to a vendor and having them open a fresh pita for you and putting some falafel in there was awesome.
Oh, yes.
You know, we're going again to November. We're going to Israel again in November. And just as when you have a falafel, you can't wait for your next one.
Yes.
Once you have go to Israel, you can't wait for your next trip.
For our next trip.
My
yes,
sister, I was
that's
going to
it.
tell you before you read that recipe. My sister
Let's see what we
loves falafels, and she's
guess
tried
so.
so many different recipes, but I'll bet the secret to it is what you just said was a dry
I didn't flatten
garbanzo
it out.
beans.
That's correct.
Yes.
It's got to be dry.
Okay.
But you constitute it overnight, and then it's the raw garbanzo bean or chickpea when you cook it. Is that thing popping?
Okay.
I think it's popping.
Excuse me. I'm gonna remove
So our oil, we want it to be right around 300 degrees, 300 to 350. I use grapeseed oil. It's a great high point. The smoke point's really high on it, and it also gives a good flavor. You can use any oil you want to as long as it's, frying oil.
Yeah.
We're going to wait for a second. I put a little tiny piece in there. I always do just to see if
That's
it
what I
sizzles.
do, too.
You listen for the awesomeness.
Yes.
Okay. I know oil's not always the most healthy thing to eat, but it's super awesome when you put anything in frying oil.
See,
So
it's gonna tell her.
Well, and the grapeseed
When
oil
you
is very
cook
healthy.
it
It is.
fast,
But-
it doesn't absorb that much either.
Greg, what are the dates when we go again in November?
there's 2 dates you can join us. November 17th is the first group, and then November 20th. On the November 17th, you're going to get back before Thanksgiving, so you'll be able to be with your family if you want to. Or you can join us in Israel for Thanksgiving and have some of the feasts that we've had and some of the food we've had on Thanksgiving Day in Israel.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to have a special
That was a
special
feast.
Thanksgiving, that was really a blessing. We've done the last 2 years, so it was really special.
I think we're ready here.
All right.
Let's just throw a couple in here and we'll get them started.
Looks like it
We need to turn it up just a
should
little
be
bit.
a little
All right.
hotter.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
let that go until we hear the awesomeness sizzle again. It really is awesomeness.
It is.
But once we're finished frying our falafel, you can take what we've made today, our Israeli salad, our hummus, our baba ganoush, Camille, which we added some salt to, so it's really good for you now. I'm joking. And our dip that we can use, you can take your falafels right into a pita sandwich. You can add all those ingredients. It's a great sandwich. Or you can have any of those things that we've done on their own.
Thank you.
Now, do you usually put about 3 falafel in your pita?
3, yes. And when you're frying, the term 3 or 4 is what I go with. You don't want to overcrowd. You want them to
You
cook
want to have
evenly.
plenty of room for
Plenty
your
of room.
salads. And now, you do put baba ganoush, and you can add the baba ganoush and
There's that awesome
in
sound.
a falafel pita. You
Anything
can put anything you want.
anything you want.
I like that drizzle over the salad part.
What is that, a
whatever is.
tahina or tahini sauce?
That's the, yep, matter of fact, you can just take tahini or tahina right out of the jar and right over your falafel. You can do that. And there's many ways of doing that.
So good.
I mean, 4 minutes probably tops with your falafel. If they start browning too fast, you want to turn your oil down. It's going to be burning.
Okay.
But right now we're looking pretty good.
Good.
You know, really, everybody I've talked to, I've told them that going to Israel was a life-changing event for me. And they said, well, how could a trip, because we've traveled a lot, and I've traveled all over the world, but going to Israel, the reason it was had such an impact is because it really makes the Bible come alive.
It does.
You know, once you've been there, and then you come back and you're reading your Bible, it's just like, wow. And the thing that amazed me is it's such a compact area of geography, and yet all of these amazing things happen in this little bitty space. And you think, I can't believe it. The first time we were over there, what surprised me the most was Bethlehem's only 6 miles from Jerusalem. That just shocked me. But, you know,
If you're walking, that's a long way.
well, I guess if you're walking, but it didn't sound, you know, I've always thought of it as being a very, but anyway, now I have an idea. When I'm reading the Bible, you can picture it in your mind. You know what the terrain is like, and it just gives you a better understanding, I think.
This year we're going to do something I have never done, and at least I don't remember, and that's go to the valley where David slew Goliath.
Valley of Elah.
Okay.
And I think you said when you took your boys, they picked up some smooth stones.
5 of them, to be exact. That's a story they always tell in
That's very meaningful.
in Bible study.
And you know, we've had kids with us a lot, and they just seem to love it. They've done great.
Okay, so these recipes will be available on MaranathaTours.com.
Correct.
All right, and you can follow them on Facebook or Twitter, but what we'd like to do now is put up an address roll for you.
If you'd like to know more about this ministry and how you can support it, then you can write to Maranatha Tours, 18428 North 42nd Place, Phoenix, Arizona 85032. That's Maranatha Tours, 18428 North 42nd Place, Phoenix, Arizona 85032. You can call 602-788-8864. That's 602-788-8864. Or you can visit them online at MaranathaTours.com. It's all one word, MaranathaTours.com.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed a taste of Israel today. Tell us what dishes all we've made today.
Well, we did our Israeli salad. We did the tahina sour cream dip. JD's favorite hummus. We did Camille's baba ganoush, our homemade pita chips, our tahini cookies, and of course our falafel.
Which is my favorite food.
My favorite too.
We just really want to invite you to come join us and go in November. This will be the trip of a lifetime. That's what everyone on the tour says. And you can go to MaranathaTours.com and check it and see it, or even I think just call us here at 3ABN. But it is a wonderful time, a trip of a lifetime, and we have assembled all of these good foods except for the cookie. We have assembled into our sandwich, and that's kind of, you can use these for dips, or you can use them like this. But I think I see somebody coming in. Somebody's nose was
This is a typical falafel.
So we're gonna let our guys have a bite, honey. Here, take a bite of this.
Yum, yum.
Looks good.
It is good. Phenomenal.
Thank you so much for being with us today. And our prayer is that the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of the Father, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit will be with you always. Please join us this year in Israel, right?
It'll be fun.
It will be fun. We love it. Shalom.
Shalom.